Forget a World Cup ban for a second, because there's a punishment being talked about right now that would actually hurt these players far more, and barely anyone's covering it properly. There are genuine calls from actual British politicians to strip Argentina's Premier League players of their UK work visas entirely. Not a suspension, not a fine. Their ability to legally live and work in this country, gone. And when you actually think about what that means for these specific players, this would be a far worse punishment than anything FIFA could ever hand out. Quick recap so you've got the full picture, because this comes from two separate incidents stacking on top of each other. First, the Falklands banner. Lisandro Martínez and Giovanni Lo Celso held up a sign reading "Las Malvinas son Argentinas" after beating England in the semi-final, with Cristian Romero and Nicolas Otamendi right there celebrating alongside them. Then, after the final itself, the brawl, Paredes grabbing a Spanish player by the throat, Molina swinging at Rodri, Enzo Fernández's red card. Two completely different incidents, but British anger at both landed on the same small group of players, because several of them happen to play their actual day jobs right here in England. And that's exactly where this gets serious. In the days after the banner, Niall Gardner, a former aide to Margaret Thatcher, now running the Thatcher Centre for Freedom in Washington, came out and said every Argentine player in the Premier League who took part in what he called this anti-British display should be stripped of their UK work visa. Not suspended from a match, stripped of the visa. That's the actual thing that lets them live in this country and play their club football here at all. Business Secretary Peter Kyle went on record too, calling for FIFA to launch a proper inquiry, and pointedly praised England's own players for their dignity by contrast. And you'll remember the Prime Minister's own spokeswoman's line, which went properly viral: "The World Cup might not be ours, but the Falkland Islands definitely are." And that political anger didn't stop with Gardner either. Liberal Democrat leader Ed Davey went even further in the immediate aftermath, insisting the players who celebrated with that banner should be barred from playing in the final against Spain entirely. FIFA said no to that one, but the fact that a sitting party leader was calling for players to be pulled from a World Cup final over this tells you the temperature this reached. And it's worth remembering, this isn't some abstract diplomatic spat over a map. The Falklands War killed over 900 people in 1982, and for a lot of people in this country, that's not history, that's personal. A group of footballers grinning and waving a banner about it, on a pitch 40 odd years later, landed very differently than a lot of them probably expected it to. Now here's who's actually exposed if any of this ever became real. Lisandro Martínez plays for Manchester United. Cristian Romero plays for Tottenham. Enzo Fernández plays for Chelsea, though there's already transfer speculation about him potentially leaving this summer, which, if you think about it, adds another layer to this, because a player already weighing a move away from England might have even more reason to take talk like this seriously. These aren't players with a loose connection to England. This is their entire career, their wages, their families, built around living and working in this country. A World Cup only comes round once every 4 years. The Premier League is their actual livelihood, every single week for years at a time. Before we go any further, please do me a huge favour and hit that subscribe button if you want Enzo Fernández out of the Premier League, like I do. But back to it. As of right now, the Home Office hasn't taken any action against any of these players, but boy, the fans have. I've never seen so many comments online talking about their welcoming if they come play again at the biggest English stadiums. I bet they would prefer to have their visas revoked to experience what may happen with many angry English fans after what they did to England in that semi-final. FIFA's own investigation into the banner has historically resulted in fines for cases like this, not immigration consequences. So, Martínez, Romero and Fernández are not yet in danger of losing their visas. But that's almost beside the point, because the fact that senior political figures in this country are even floating the idea publicly tells you how much genuine anger there is here. Anger serious enough that people are reaching for a punishment that goes way beyond football entirely. And that's honestly what makes this the worst possible ban if it ever actually happened. Think about the difference properly. FIFA banning Argentina from the next World Cup hurts the national team, hurts pride, costs them one tournament every 4 years, brutal but survivable, and it doesn't touch a single person's actual day-to-day life. A UK visa revocation is a completely different category of consequence. No Manchester United, no Tottenham, no Chelsea, no Champions League football, no Premier League wages, which for players at this level isn't a small pay cut, it's most of their entire income disappearing overnight. Kids potentially pulled out of school here, A house, a life, a whole daily routine built around England, gone, with essentially no notice, over something that happened on a pitch and not in their actual jobs. One version of this is a footballing punishment. The other is a punishment on someone's actual livelihood and home, and it would follow them for the rest of their career, since immigration decisions like that don't just quietly disappear from someone's record. And the fact that it's even being discussed out loud by people with real political influence says something about just how far this entire saga has pushed British public opinion. Not just angry at a team anymore, but genuinely questioning whether these specific players are even welcome here at all. So here's what I actually want to know from you. Do you think a UK visa ban is a fair response to what happened? Or is that a step too far for something that happened on a football pitch? And please hit that subscribe button. I'll be back soon with more news for you.